Today is the 25th regular meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please
Amen.
bless our meeting today. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions wise, and our community strong. Amen.
Amen.
You got more than you bargained for.
Before we do roll call, I just want to say that's the best Pledge of Allegiance I've heard of these chambers since I've been a commissioner. So, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Present.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Here. Gentlemen, you have before you the minutes of the regular meetings on June 9th and June 16th of 2026. Can I have a motion to approve, waiving reading of the same?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on minutes? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye. Before we have public portion, I would like to have our auditor, Chris Galloway, has some comments to make that I would like to ask him to please come up to the microphone.
Should I bring my coffee or no?
Please do not bring your coffee. We don't mean you to be. I don't need you getting comfortable up here.
Don't bring your beverage, said Mr. Beveridge. Unless you got coffee for all.
That was downstairs.
Coffee is a threat, Commissioner. If I bring that, you know you're in trouble.
Thank you for the invitation to come up and address the board, Mr. President, Commissioners McIntosh and Plechnik. Obviously, we have a full room here today for a purpose, because this board is going to be considering what the vernacular is piggyback tax credits. And I thought it was important to put all of this in context in terms of what's been done, where we are, and sort of what's before this board. It's important to know that piggyback tax credits that were implemented as part of House Bill 86 last year, i.e. the budget, require the Board of Commissioners to take a vote annually on those potential credits. And why that's important is because the legislature's intention was to make the Board of Commissioners evaluate the current tax and revenue picture that is before a county. That way you're taking an analysis on the here and now, and you are looking at the next year, in this case fiscal year 27.
Mr. President, just real quick for clarification, it was House Bill 96.
Sorry, 96. I apologize. I have so many House bills in my head, Commissioner, that they've all started to run together, to be blunt. So the legislature intended that flexibility intentionally so that it is an annual analysis of the Board of Commissioners. I think also it's important to remember the reforms, or to outline the reforms that occurred in December of last year and went into effect in March. And those, of course, would be House Bill 124, 129, 186, 309, 335, and then just last month, House Bill 479. House Bill 479, of course, implemented a additional homestead tax credit, a one-time for 2027 for low-income seniors. But all the cumulative of all these other reform bills, of which myself and the Auditors Association lobbied hard for, in a nutshell, what they did was they fixed the unvoted tax increase, i.e. the windfall that resulted from the mechanisms within the 20 mil floor part of school funding. Part of the big tax increases, the biggest part of the biggest tax increases that we saw across Lake County in 2025 were a part of that mechanism as it relates to the 20 mil floor. I'm not going to get into the details of that because that's not the purpose. But the important thing is that has been corrected so that we will not see those spikes in the future in terms of unvoted windfalls for any taxing authority. Additionally, the legislature saw fit to index inside millage to the rate of inflation. So again, inside millage can only go up at the rate of inflation versus, again, beyond that. Again, that's a taxpayer protection that's been put in place effective this March. They also changed the funding mechanism and the types of levies that are making up the 20 mil floor, which will also alleviate future unvoted tax increases by, in essence, raising the floor, if you will. Additionally, they chose to increase the owner-occupied credit starting in the second half of this year over the next 5 years from 2.5% all the way up to 15.38%, I believe. So that is going to be a large increase in the owner-occupied credit over a few-year period. It's going to be a step process that will increase that credit for homeowners. Additionally, they also passed House Bill 309, which empowered budget commissions to reduce levies if they are found to be excessive. And as it relates to the House Bill 479 homestead credit, it is going to be my primary, as president of the Auditors Association next year, our number one legislative goal is going to be getting to make that permanent, to actually increasing the homestead credit so that it has value for those seniors that need it the most, so that we are on par with states like Texas, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina, because we are not. Because the legislature over 30 years has neglected that credit, and it has fallen well below inflation over that time in terms of its effectiveness in providing relief. So, obviously, our number one goal is helping low-income seniors. I think everybody agrees on that point. I do want to say, though, that I think I've rarely wade into social media commentary, but I do want to say, just from a public standpoint, I think this argument over for or against piggyback tax credits has sort of become a proxy for school funding reform. And that, I just kind of want to say, and again, I think we all agree that school funding reform needs to occur in this state, but that's going to be the purview of the legislature to finally get that right. In my opinion, this vote is not about the school funding formula, whether or not Columbus is properly funding, how schools are run, et cetera, et cetera. This is about the commissioners analyzing the current property tax environment in Lake County and making a decision on if and where they want to apply additional credits, that tax relief that's so needed. This is not a proxy fight about school funding. And I think that that's unfortunately been a side effect of the legislature doing this, providing this opportunity for boards of commissioners. It's basically pitted boards of commissioners across the state against their local governments and their school boards. And I think that's an unfortunate outcome, and that's not the purpose of these. Now, I do want to say, and I appreciate taking the opportunity to talk about that, I want to talk about something that I'm going to be doing in July. As part of tax collections, my office is in large part funded by a small percentage of all real estate taxes, a very small percentage, comes to my office to fund the office's operations. We call this the REA fund. About every 5 or 6 years, generally after a sexennial valuation, we do a budget analysis and determine whether or not some of those funds can be returned to those local government agencies. So I want to announce that my office in July will be returning to all the taxing authorities, the schools, the local governments, et cetera, about $750,000 in already allocated and voted tax dollars. So those will go back to those local cities, villages, townships, school districts, et cetera. And because in looking at a 5-year analysis, I believe that is an amount of money that I do not need to hold in that REA fund in order to perform the operations of the auditor's office. Last did this back in 2020, and post our sexennial in 2024, having done the analysis, we're going to go ahead and return additional dollars. I think it's also important to note that Lake County, my office, is one of the few, if might be the only, we do not collect that REA fee off of taxes in second half collection, because we are able to run the operation efficiently without taking those dollars on second half collections, which of course results in those dollars going directly to those townships, villages, school districts, et cetera, without having to come through my office first. And I think that's important to note, that I think we, in conjunction with county operations, we're running efficiently enough that we don't need those dollars, and then every few years we get to return some. So I wanted to announce that we will be doing that. And then additionally, because of House Bill 309, the Budget Commission will be meeting in August to review tax budgets from all taxing districts and authorities other than schools. They've already had their hearings. Those are statutorily required to be done in February. But in August, we will be reviewing the county, cities, villages, townships, county agencies, the health department, et cetera. Those will be taking place, and it will potentially provide opportunity for additional tax relief if we determine that taxes are excessive in any capacity. I did want to note too that an example of this was reviewed in the tax budget that was in the hearing prior to this meeting, that the commissioner's tax budget is looking to reduce a levy by a percentage, which would provide tax relief. And I think this board should be applauded for having that sort of proactive nature at looking at ways to reduce taxes. So I would, if you have any questions, any comments?
Covered everything that I was looking for, and I just want to echo the fact that two things. You only collect your fees in the first half,
Correct.
whereas most counties in this state collect it in both halves.
Yeah, I'm not
Basically,
sure.
you're cutting your revenues in half already of what you could.
Correct. I'm not aware of any other county that doesn't collect second half. There might be one or two.
And you're also returning money.
Correct.
That you have enough to take care of the needs and the services that need to be provided. And so I just want to say thank you and commend you again for the efficiency of that process. One, that is a testament to you. The other thing too, I'll say, is it's a percentage of the property taxes collected in a county, which illustrates the fact that this county could potentially be interpreted as collecting a whole lot of property taxes that we've talked about before. But I also think that's a symptom of that as well. So, but I just want to say, job well done.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the stewardship of the dollars. So, gentlemen, anything else for the auditor?
I would just like to thank the auditor for coming forward. I appreciate Mr. Galloway has put a tremendous amount of time into the property tax issue for several years now, and I appreciate him being a resource to this board, to myself personally, and to a number of residents that have come into the county and asked questions. His knowledge, his intellect and thought and depth on the subject is very valuable. It's very objective, and I think we should all be grateful and appreciate the hard work that he and his office do on that matter. So I thank him for coming forward to share some of his information and set the record straight on a couple of points. I do have one question or a request, is that when you speak about the Budget Commission going forward and talking about evaluating those expenses, could you just briefly touch on the process? Because I know that a number of people, elected officials and the entities across the county have a bit of apprehension about that.
Sure.
And I think discussing the process might or at least make people understand how that would happen, and that it isn't going to be just this draconian sword swinging slashing of budgets.
Yes. So the Budget Commission will review tax budgets, and I think that's important to note, that that's reviewing the overall picture of revenue and expenditures and fund balances. Okay, what the Budget Commission doesn't do, and I had these questions a lot on House Bill 309 and testifying in front of the House and the Senate in Columbus, was, well, you don't know how to run a school district. What makes you think you should be having oversight? And the reality is, I don't know how to run a school district, 100%. But we're not reviewing a school district or a village's budget to say, well, you're paying too much for gasoline for your plow trucks, or you're spending too much on pencils, right? That is not the purview of the Budget Commission. That is for that independent school board, that village council, and their finance people to determine those individual budgetary expenditures. What we are looking at is looking at the history of funds, the tax dollars being generated, projections going forward, the amounts in those funds to determine whether or not there is a purpose for those funds and whether or not those levies need to be correctly adjusted based on the needs of that entity. So we're not diving into the specifics of a budget in a village or a school district, et cetera. We're going to look at and say, okay, you have X million dollars in this fund. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, you had half this amount. This fund keeps going up based on this levy. What is the purpose for this increase in revenue? Are you doing something with it, or are you just sort of stockpiling cash? And I think that that's a philosophical thing that folks need to understand, that we're not the private sector, right? We're not individuals with savings banks. Government is supposed to raise tax, have tax revenue to run operations. There's always, of course, smart budgeting to have some reserves and for the potential for outcomes that you're not prepared for, some sudden flood, a plow truck breaks, etc. But just sort of hoarding cash to hoard cash for an if-come that may never happen is, in my opinion, an inappropriate stewardship of tax dollars. And so the Budget Commission, through House Bill 309, has been empowered fully by the legislature now to review that. Now, I was a township trustee for nearly 15 years, and I can tell you we saved, several $1 million to build a new interchange at Capitol Parkway in Concord Township. That's an easy thing to explain if we had a Budget Commission when I was a trustee to come to the Budget Commission and say, well, you see that fund increasing because here's the project we're working on. Makes sense. But if you have an increasing fund and it's going up $1 million a year, year over year, based on your historical budgeting, and you don't have specific projects, and now you're sitting on millions of dollars that you don't have a clear reason to need or collect, that's where the Budget Commission will be empowered to make some decisions as to whether or not those levies should be adjusted. What that outcome will be, again, the Budget Commission is made up of myself, Treasurer Zurin, and Prosecutor Colson. And we will sit down with those entities in hearings in August, and we will review their tax budgets. And there'll be a back and forth. I view this as a collaborative approach. This is not, three fellows with a meat cleaver. This is looking at and having a conversation about those tax revenues and those current and future expenditures. So that's the process. It's going to be a very collaborative one. I believe the school budget hearings that we had in February show that. There was a conversation about their revenue, their future projections, et cetera. And that dialogue is an important part of it. So that's what will be occurring in August. And those are open to the public. Those are public meetings. So any member of the public can come and listen and watch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. This will bring us to public portion. Anyone wishing to address the board on agenda items only? I have a list of folks that have signed up that I will be going through for public portion. You will have 3 minutes after stating your name and address. And before we go to public comment, I just want to say and acknowledge and thank our youngest members in attendance today for being here, some of which cannot vote. But I appreciate you folks being here and watching how government is done. I guess it's the simplest way to put it. So, first on my list is Lauren Marchaza.
Oh, you okay? Sure. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. As you said, my address. I live on Oak Ridge Drive in Concord Township. My name is Lauren Marchaza. I am a homeowner, a property taxpayer in Lake County, and I serve as the Vice President of the Mentor Board of Education. First, I want to sincerely thank Commissioners McIntosh and Beveridge for recently meeting with our school leaders. I deeply appreciate your willingness to sit down, look at the data, and act as real partners in discussing the future of our district. I'm here today to address the upcoming vote on the permissive property tax exemptions authorized under House Bill 96. As a taxpayer, I completely understand and appreciate the desire to provide property tax relief, especially right now. This is why I am not asking you to vote down the entire package. Instead, I am respectfully but urgently asking the Commission to split the vote on these two provisions rather than enacting them together. I urge you to vote yes to support the homestead exemption, but vote down the owner occupancy credit. The homestead exemption is a tightly focused safety net for our most vulnerable seniors and disabled veterans on fixed incomes. It is targeted relief. In contrast, the owner occupancy credit is a sweeping, broad discount with no income limits. Passing it means Mentor Public Schools takes an immediate $1.6 million hit that the state refuses to reimburse. Unlike the county or our local municipalities, public school districts do not collect sales tax or benefit from municipal income tax growth. Under House Bill 920, our revenue remains flat even as property values rise. We have no way to recover from local revenue rollbacks. Look at the fiscal trajectory over recent years. Lake County's total revenues grew by 62%. The city of Mentor grew by 43%. Meanwhile, Mentor Public Schools revenue grew by just 5.7%. Our cash balance declined by 36%. We have already cut millions in expenditures to preserve basic classroom instruction, and like almost every other school district in this county, we are facing the reality of being on the ballot yet again this fall just to survive. I acknowledge that the state has abdicated its constitutional duty to fully fund public education, putting you all in a very difficult position by forcing local governments and taxpayers to handle the fallout. But as elected officials, we must hold ourselves to a higher standard. Strong public schools are the economic anchor of this county. I urge you to take a big swing, stand with our schools, and split the vote. Protect our classrooms from a $1.6 million cut, and let's stand together to demand that the state legislature do its job and properly and fairly fund public education. Thank you for your time, your partnership, and your consideration.
Thank you. I feel like it's commencement. If we want, we can hold all applause to the end, please. Dave Lima.
David Lima, Litchfield Drive, Mentor. Good morning, Commissioners. My comments pertain to items 11 and 12 on today's agenda. For too long, Ohio taxpayers have supported public education through local tax levies at unprecedented and burdensome levels. For too long, Ohio's public schools have been deprived of full state financial support. I'm a retired senior on a fixed income. I am also an advocate for public education. The passage of House Bill 96 has created an untenable position, not only for me, but for you as county commissioners. We can only speculate about the veto-proof supermajority's view of public education, but one thing is certain: they are legislating in ways that effectively diminish public education. The state has steadily reduced its share of financial support for public education for more than 2 decades, dropping from a high of nearly 47% in 1999 to an estimated 32% in 2027. This, despite the constitutional requirement that the state fully fund a thorough and efficient public education system. They have violated this requirement by shifting the majority of support for public education to the local taxpayer. To add insult to injury, the veto-proof supermajority provides funds that effectively create a state-sponsored private education system, violating the clear constitutional requirement prohibiting any part of the state school funds from going to such private entities. Our legislators should be admonished for the egregious, purposeful neglect of their constitutional duty to fully fund the public school system. They are facing heavy criticism and taking a lot of heat for the current situation, and decided, in my view, to shift some of that heat to the local county commissions by passing House Bill 96. The bill allows county commissioners the option to expand the owner-occupied and homestead exemptions or not. If you side with the schools, the taxpayers lose. If you side with the taxpayers, the schools lose. It's a no-win situation for you, the taxpayers, and the schools. It's a recipe for a frustrated, divided community. Columbus must change, and it is incumbent on all of us to make that happen by voting to end the veto-proof supermajority. Please join me in that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl Setzer. Just want to say hello. How are you?
Mr. President, if we could just clarify, while it's very helpful that we have a list for orderly presentation, I know a lot of people have come out wanting to speak. Folks still can speak even if they haven't signed in. It's just you're going down the list of people who have. So I just want everyone to know you have an opportunity to speak whether you signed in or not, but the president is using the list to start.
Correct. The next check to speak is Jenna Bing.
Hi, Jenna Bing, Beach Hills Drive in Willoughby Hills. So I come here in kind of multiple hats. I do sit on the Senior Citizen Advisory Panel, but I also am a homeowner, and I'm an elder. May not look like it, but hey, I am. But thankfully, I'm not one of those that has such a low income. The Senior Citizen Advisory Panel has been working on a senior services strategic plan. That is coming close to being done. All the preliminary stuff, though, says that we have a huge problem in this county with seniors, particularly seniors that are becoming less and less able to stay in their homes because of affordability issues. There is no other way. There's no places to downsize to. There's issues with that. But that's what they want. They want to age in place. This is not only Lake County, this is probably across the United States. In regards to that, one of the things that kills them is taxes. And the ability to continue and renew that whatever it is, so that they get more credit, they don't have to pay as many taxes, that's very important. The other thing that's coming up is I understand that Lake County is working on a general strategic plan, and that is coming later this summer. And those two strategic plans, I believe, are probably going to be fairly similar in seniors are going to be a big issue of how we deal with taking care of our seniors, making it easier on our seniors to stay here and to live here in Lake County in a lifestyle that they want, which is at their house, being careful about being taken care of at their house. We do a lot for them. This kind of tax relief is important to them. Now, the homestead tax, okay, you're like, oh, well, the other person said just split them and do one and not the other. The homestead tax, I'm a homeowner, and I know how much that homestead tax makes a difference. Not everybody lives in the house that they own, and this is very much to keep people in their homes. Like I say, I am a senior. I am a homeowner. I want to stay in my house. At some point, if taxes keep going up, that is going to be a problem. And I own my home. I own it outright. But the increase in taxes will put a strain on me all the time. That's why it's important. It was nice to hear from Mr. Galloway that there's things that are going on in the future. But this year, I think you just need to keep things as they are, renew them for this year until you actually have the strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Lawrenson, sorry if I got that wrong. Cheryl, how are you?
You're close enough. I'm well, thank you. I'm here to ask all three of you to vote yes for both the homestead and the piggyback. Homestead exemption helped my husband and I tremendously, helped other seniors that I'm aware of tremendously. Though the piggyback in the owner occupancy isn't much, but it has helped other people in other areas. Living in a school district that just passed a 1% earned income tax levy, which is Wycliffe, that's 1% of people's earned income starting in January. That doesn't include the 2% tax for Wycliffe. That's a total of 3%. There are many seniors who are living on their Social Security, but have also had to make the choice to get a part-time job to supplement their income due to Medicare increases, prescription drug prices. I'm not standing here and saying, for those behind me, it's not that I do not support public education. I do support teachers. But enough is enough. The schools, as far as I am concerned, and others that I know, need to cut their administrative bloat. When you have school superintendents making over $200,000 in a salary, and that doesn't include their pensions, their benefits, their packages. Yes, a man is worth their hire, but enough is enough. They threaten to take away activities, etc., in these public schools, yet say it's never coming back, but they do come back. Pay to play, no busing, all this. But Mentor Schools says they're going to lose this money, but yet they have an ad hiring school bus drivers, full and part-time, and will pay for that training, which many years ago was $300. Now I'm sure it's more. If you don't have the money, what are you doing hiring? It's important, and I can't stress enough to actually plead with all three of you. Keep both credits in place. Let Columbus fix the problem that they created. Thank you.
Okay, going off of the next check to speak, Denise Winter.
Oh, boy, okay.
Sorry.
Thank you for saving me.
Oh, you're welcome. I wasn't anticipating speaking today, but I am here as a special educator of education, 33 years. So I have seen the changes that have happened between public schools with special education involved in it, and the different strides we have made since the beginning when I did start, when the classroom was a teacher and aide. And basically what got done was basic care. Fast forward to almost 34 years later, the strides we are making in New Community with our students is amazing. And we have been blessed in Lake County because they've always supported our schools. They see what we do with our kids. And I feel the same way with the mom being an educator for 34 years for Mentor Schools. And I understand you say cut, but I'm blessed enough that my husband has a good job, and he helps me support my students by buying the things that I need for my classroom. We don't make that much money. I'm in it. I signed up for teaching because I love my kiddos. I would not be doing it. But the community knows that other things with this waivers and stuff, and we need the Homestead Act too, and I think more people
people that really need to take advantage of that program, a lot of them aren't aware that it's available. I'm with everyone else. We need to take care of both programs. But education, I'm tired of people slamming public education. I don't think they see it as a whole. Not every child is entitled would be the word, to go to a private school. I don't think we need, if you choose to send your child to a private school, that's an entitlement, that's your choice. But a lot of children don't have that choice. And I would rather go without so students could have more, or I sure would not be doing what I'm doing, because I love my job and I serve my students. And those of you who have seen Broadmoor see the different choices that we do as a county and the support that we get. And in the other public programs within the other districts, they have those programs too. So we just need to support both of these, and I'm begging you, find a way to support both, because they're both so needed. And I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry if I'm gabbering, but I just felt I needed to say something. So thank you for hopefully helping us and continuing to guide us in a right way, because we do not need to go back like we were before. All right, thank you.
All right. Next up on my list, Nancy Mara.
Good morning, Commissioner Plechnik, Commissioner Beveridge, and Commissioner McIntosh. I'm glad I'm not you today. You have a hard decision, I understand that. I sit on City Council in Timberlake, therefore I'm here today representing my constituents and who has knocked on our door and who has come to our conferences and our education that we provided in Timberlake of what's going on. Both heartfelt, woman in green, teacher in blue, both sides presented very well. We're all here passionately, correct? And everything is already going to be said and redundant, and we're going to keep on saying the same things because we're all very passionate about it. We want you to vote. We want you to vote what we want, but I'm here to vote what the Timberlake people have told me and knocked on our doors. We do have a very aging community in Timberlake that can't keep up with the prices of Aldi's, prices of Walmart, or even keeping up their lawn. They want to stay in Timberlake. Timberlake people live there forever. From birth, they get married, and they come back. And they're complaining that Timberlake's taxes went up so high, at an average 30%. What more can they give up? Aging in place is very important. I agree with you. Special education is very important. But I'm here to vote, to ask you to vote, to give us more tax relief on both, because that's what my constituents have asked us to do. I know it's hard to live within a budget. We do it in our village all the time. We have no businesses in Timberlake. We live on a shoestring, and we figured it out. But I have to vote for what my constituents have knocked on my door for and asked you. Not only do they ask for the abolishment of property taxes, which is why this is so much more important. This will actually make people more angry, and getting that tax petition on the ballot in 27 will make it that much easier, because people now are calling to sign that altogether. So I pray that you're all listening, and I think you are, and I thank you for serving us and making this hard decision today, because the constituents in Timberlake have asked us for more tax relief. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Linda O'Brien.
Linda O'Brien, Tanager Court, mentor. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I greatly appreciate it. I want to make sure that it's clear that my comments are based on life experience. As a 30-year independent business consultant, helping businesses become profitable and productive, and as someone who ran for school board, I have knowledge that I never would have had otherwise. And as I look at the mentor schools, I know from facts, not fiction, that they are top-heavy in administration. To a great extent, that if I was the consultant, I would make a difference. They have high levels of exiting by families and have never taken the steps of doing an exit analysis to learn why, so that they would understand why there is this mass exodus. And there's a lot that happens within that school system that unfortunately they're not held accountable, especially from a budget standpoint. And I vote, or rather, I ask you to vote yes on both of these matters because it's important to hold the school accountable, just like a business would be held accountable. They have a budget. They need to learn to operate within it. They need to raise their productivity because the school test scores are abysmal. They'll tell you they are improving, but as somebody that's very wise that I know said, if you have an F and you go to a D minus, if you call that improvement, I think that's a major error. So improvement with the school testing results in the classroom environment and the accountability at the top level is critical. Now, whether it's managing a budget for the Willoughby Hills Cemetery or a multi-million-dollar budget for a client of mine, I know how to do that. It's not that it's difficult, it's unwillingness that results in this. And so I urge you, all of you, to vote yes for this. And I will be exiting when I'm done here, and I apologize for that, but I have to go and train Sam Adams for Liberty Camp today. So I will be exiting. Don't think that there's any other intent in that, but I will leave you with this last note. We, the people, have voted twice on school levies to reject them because we're asking these schools to be accountable, productive, and more profitable with managing their money. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Next up, I have Sarah Jones.
I don't want to speak.
Alrighty then. Next up, I have Suzanne Baker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity. I too was not planning when I woke up this morning to stand in front of you and say something, but I feel compelled to. I am a resident of Wycliffe, Warren Road. I'm also an educator myself. I would just like to say that I think at the beginning, it was said that we shouldn't be pitted against each other on this issue, and I definitely agreed with that. This is just unfortunate that we should even be having this kind of a discussion here today. It's not fair for all of us on both sides. It's definitely been a long time coming. I'm not a history expert, but I believe that in 1998, it was determined unconstitutional to rely so heavily on taxpayers to fund the schools. And it was determined 4 more times unconstitutional, and yet it's still a problem. So it's not fair that this issue has been put on our shoulders, all of our shoulders, to have to battle for. I'm really sad that we are having this discussion in the first place. And as many people said, much better than I have, with more facts, more prepared, of why it's really a problem that we shouldn't even be dealing with. But I just want to plead with you that this does not have to be a choice between supporting taxpayers and supporting children. We can and should pursue both. We are all part of communities together, and all the members of our communities deserve to be supported, whether they are young members who are relying on others to advocate for them, or whether they are individuals that are struggling and on fixed incomes and absolutely deserve relief. Both groups need support, so limiting one to help another doesn't solve the problem. So I'm asking and echoing what Lauren Martraza and others have said to please vote yes for the homestead exemption and no for the owner occupancy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on my list, Christina close enough. I'll let you say your name. Beautiful. Into the microphone with your address.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners Plechnik and McIntosh. My name is Christina Comwendo. I'm at 4850 River Road in Perry Township. And I just wanted to keep this very simple. And I'm going to quote Commissioner Plechnik that the taxes are too damn high. And every little bit helps. I'm asking to please renew both the homestead credit as well as the owner occupancy credit. Our most vulnerable seniors, low-income seniors, it's important for them to be able to stay in their houses. They should not have to choose between paying taxes, paying for medication, or eating. And as much as that is important, all homeowners should be given whatever tax relief they can have, because the taxes are way too high. We're getting taxed to death. And there are other homeowners that aren't seniors that are struggling as well. Many have lost their position, their jobs as a result of workforce reductions. There are many single parents as homeowners trying to put kids through college, and they shouldn't have to choose between losing their homes and living. And so we're so grateful that Lake County did get both of these credits. Every little bit helps. And until we can abolish property taxes once and for all, every bit helps. And all homeowners should be given relief, and all homeowners need relief. And I did want to say that Commissioner McIntosh, as our newest Lake County Commissioner, here's your opportunity to let the constituents of Lake County know that you care about this issue and that you're willing to help us. So please, I would urge all three of you, please vote yes to renew these tax credits because the taxes are too damn high. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Kevin Hawkins.
Give him help.
I'm Kevin Hawkins. I live at 6998 Bunbury Lane in Concord Township. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Today, I rise to ask you to split your vote. I want you to vote yes for the homestead exemption and to vote down the other tax that's going on here. You know, as was said before, the state legislature has given up taking their hands off of funding like they're supposed to, according to the Constitution. They're not doing it. We have to do it ourselves until they do it, until there's a fix in place. Our school kids, they're our future. Our community is important. And if nothing else, tax dollar, your home value is raised by having good schools in your county. So that's why I urge you to split your vote today on items 11 and 12. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Steve. Todd? Steve Todd.
I'm Steve Todd, 6881 Niffen Road in Leroy. I am a pastor, a senior, a local businessman, and I was talking with both sides out front to really get a real clear perspective on what each side is looking for. And it seems to me like we're all working for the same thing. I really think both sides ought to be working together. I don't think we ought to be on opposite sides of the street holding signs. I think we ought to be working together to have well-funded but well-run schools. I believe that I don't think you have to be 3 years old to know that there's waste in every area of government, including the schools. I think that's just a given. That's what government does. It spends money, and the more it has, the more it's going to spend. So the schools have to be well-run, but they have to be well-funded. My position is, because I'm definitely, right now leaning towards abolishing the real estate tax. They have put upon you something that they should be doing at the state. And I think it is unfair, the lady that said that. I think it's your responsibility to vote yes and put the onus back at the state where it belongs. Put them in a position on both of these issues where they have to do what they are supposed to be doing. When my older brothers did not clean out the chicken coop, my dad did not say, "Steve, get out there and do your brother's job." He said, "Get out there and clean the chicken coop." If you vote yes to these issues, and if we work together, we can force the state to do what they are supposed to be doing. I urge you to vote yes.
Thank you. Next on the list, Mary Ellen Abel.
Oh, that be me. I will try to retain my filter, which I lost on my first day working at Morton Salt. My name is Mary Ellen Abel, biblical A-B-E-L. I live at 50 Barley Drive in Painesville Township, Ohio. And actually, part of what I want to say is indirectly part of the meaning, but I want to tell you, I thank you for reducing the rent in my house. I pay every month because I could not cough. I totally own my house, but I'm renting it from this county, and I'm tired of renting it. Now, recently, with the passage of the homestead exemption increase, that has made rent a little more affordable. When I bought my house, I only paid, this was about 12 years ago, I only paid maybe $170,000, $180,000 for it. When it was reevaluated last year, they said it was worth $291,000 and it was a new build. I'm sorry, no way. A young, computer geek accountant that I talked to, it wasn't a county employee, said, "Well, what do you think it's worth?" And I said, "Max, $145,000. He says, "No, we can only do $175,000, which is totally outrageous. Totally outrageous. I'm sorry, I got to take a breath. Thank you for keeping me from being a medical emergency. My blood sugar dropped to 49. I should have been unconscious. I'm barely at 90 now. The other thing is our duly elected county engineer with us today.
It's public comment, ma'am, so.
I know. The reason why I ask is because Barley Road is off of Madison Avenue. Madison Avenue has been closed for 4.5 out of the last 5 years. With the cluster fill in the blank that's going on in Painesville City where they're paving everything that isn't moving, it's been impossible. I used to be able to get to Painesville City in 1.5 miles. Now, if I take the other way around and go down Bow Hall, I have to pray that they're not doing a shift change in the train, which is only supposed to be there for 5 minutes, or broken up and separated so it doesn't block the crossing. It sits there for 15, 20 minutes, and the traffic backs up on Bow Hall. Somebody needs to shit or get off the pot.
Please, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to fill the...
Yeah, you're good, you're good.
Oh, thank you.
And
More sugar.
I do my best, and I'm gonna help you out here real quick, and I'm gonna say, I assure you, I want Madison Avenue open faster than I want lights on Route 2. So, that's not on the agenda today.
I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
good,
sorry.
you're good. I appreciate you being here, I appreciate your passion, and know that we are working on it. All right?
But there was a news article in the paper back in February or March. They were going to start working on, the Army Corps of Engineers was going to work on Madison Avenue. There has been nobody there.
Ma'am.
I'm sorry.
First of all, don't believe everything you read in the paper. No offense, Chad. Second of all, Sorry. The print, yes, the print version's legit. What you can get on your screen isn't.
I take it with a grain of salt. And after 37 years at Morton Salt, I've had a
You know
lot
your-
of grains
you
of
know your
salt.
2 different projects, ma'am. We'll talk afterwards if you like, but I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Absolutely. Next up, now Steve Thompson. No check next to your name. Also no check next to Chris's name. Hey Chris, how are you, buddy? With a check, Brian Massey.
Good morning, Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, just an average citizen. I'll try to be very, very brief. I've been in front of commissioners for the past probably 5-7 years talking about property taxes. And I appreciate Auditor Galloway talking about the Budget Commission. And I have been very concerned about the taxing authorities just accumulating millions and millions of dollars more than they need to operate. I will be impressed if Auditor Galloway will look at the crime lab. The last time I looked at the crime lab, they were getting more than $1.6 million more than they need to operate. So if that gets changed, I will be very impressed. Regarding the issues 11 and 12 right now, I am requesting that the commissioners vote to extend the credit on both. As I hear other citizens talk, I agree with them. We're not really that far off, both sides. It is a state legislative issue, but when I look at the numbers, as I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but both the homestead exemption and the owner occupancy, it's about $15 million that we're talking about for the entire county. And as I understand it, for the schools, that amounts to about 1.5% of their budget. And I dare say that if they cannot adjust to a 1 or 1.5% budget change, they need to really rethink what they're doing. So just one last thought, and I've said this several times. Any tax causing a citizen to become homeless is immoral. I ask you to support the citizens of Lake County. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, John Mara.
Morning, Commissioners, John Mara, Mayor of Timberlake. 39 Mini Wawa Drive. Well, I, of course, would like to support these both. And again, I think everyone presented the case here. You know, they talk about the administrative bloat. That's a big problem. I mean, I think if one of the problems, if the administrators would just take a pay freeze for a couple of years, everyone would meet that budget no problem. I mean, it's not asking for much. Again, the administration has overgrown. And they're the ones that control the curriculum of the teachers. We're going to blame the teachers for following that curriculum that honestly is, I believe now it's almost defective because it's not working. And again, now what they're doing is they're putting out these other programs. We want to get them into these trade schools, which is great, but now it's on our dime. We have to pay for the education to get these children into these trade schools because they failed them and educate them on the basic reading, writing, and arithmetic. So, you know, where we're at with this is, again, you know, there is bloat and everything. We as a community, we have to cut out of our budget also. And we can do that easily because, again, if it were more, we'd cut more. I'd find a way to do it because, again, our residents do need help. I hear it from our residents, just like my wife said, Councilwoman Mara, she said that, you know, our residents are speaking out. Yes, it would be great. You know, the seniors need that homestead,
But the owner occupancy, we have residents that are just working families because of the price of gas, increase of gas now, the cost of food, and all the other costs of inflation that gone up. They really need that exemption now because, again, they can't make ends meet either. They're struggling themselves. And, we have some even people that won't even get married because it's not in the budget, okay? Because they're going to lose all these other exemptions, and then it'll cost them more in taxes overall. And again, it's a shame when people have to make their decision in their lives based on taxes, and again, we're asked to make a sacrifice, but we'll make a sacrifice as a community because, again, that's what the people need. We want to serve our community and our constituents, and that's what we need to do first and foremost. And again, giving this little tax break is a big help to everyone, not just the seniors. And again, I look at in Timberlake, what we have is we have a lot of homes in disrepair because, again, they can't afford to even pay for the upkeep on the homes because they want to stay in their homes and don't lose it. There are so many people, and again, it's not just the fixed income, it's not just the seniors. It's everyone across, everyone is hurting. And again, people with the economy the way it is, AI taking over jobs, and that's the other thing in schools. I mean, they want to go to AI. That's going to end up taking over mostly the administrators' jobs first. Then they're going to put robots in there for teachers. So that's what we have to overcome. We need to teach our kids the basics and get them in the basics of that. So again, I would urge, I almost had the opportunity, I was able to run for the commissioner's office for the late Commissioner Regovich. And I know one thing, last year, there was Commissioner Plesher, Commissioner Beveridge, and Commissioner Regovich were here to make the same decision. It was a very tough decision. I heard, all three of them speak highly on this, and actually they all supported it. It passed unanimously, both parts, and I agree with all your sentiment about it. And I know, Commissioner Beveridge, you said, are we going, if I see some change, maybe I'll change my mind. Well, the changes that honestly Auditor Galloway brought and that the legislators did aren't good enough. They're just crumbs, and they basically won't help the situation here. So I know one thing, if I was in that seat, and it's a tough decision, I would vote yes on both, but thank you.
Thank you, sir. My last name on the list is Regina Gonzalez.
Unless there's some on the back.
That was my last name on the list.
Hi, Regina Gonzalez. I live on Gardenside Drive in Wait Hill. Thank you for the opportunity for all of us to speak. I'll try to keep it brief too. A lot of what I would have said has been said more eloquently, particularly by Lauren and Dave. So I just would like to say a few points with respect to the kind of the conflation of these provisions and tax relief with being for or against schools or for or against seniors is problematic. Of course, I think we all agree on that. But I think the reason for it is because of the impact. So the impact of the tax cuts, it affects the schools and other public services and entities. And then the impact, of course, of having the relief is also, on the positive side, helping folks who need it. So it seems like most people in here agree that the state is kind of shirking its duty, its constitutional responsibility to fund the schools properly. And in order to do that, though, we do need to have change, of course, at the state level. And I know that other parents and community members, not just parents, but people of all ages are motivated to mobilize to try to make some influence at the state level. But we need help, though. I'm just a parent. I am not a politician. I have nothing to do with state government or local government. And so having support from commissioners or other elected officials would help us at the state level. If you can help to find some of that cooperation and to get them to listen to these issues. So then that way we are kind of unified. Like one of our signs out there said, you can't have community without unity. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. And if we're all in agreement that we need to support seniors and we need some tax relief and we need to properly fund schools and we need accountability and all of that, then all of us together, could maybe have that impact on that at the state level, rather than so much of the responsibility being on the county and the municipalities. And, and to that point, I also ask that you split the vote for now. Hopefully we can get some action at the state level and from the legislators to properly fund the schools and fully fund the schools. And then that way, you know, this would be more palatable to more people. And so it could be temporary, where you vote against the owner occupancy, vote for the homestead exemption, and then revisit it as things change. So I ask those two things of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public portion? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Sanford. I'm Parker Drive in Mentor. I'm a retired educator, veteran, and I've moved here recently because I really like this area. Simply stated, it's imperative that we support the schools. It's imperative as a senior. I certainly would appreciate the homestead, but not necessary for me. But we do ask you to split the vote. Support the seniors, but the owner occupancy, we don't need that. We need it in the schools. I've heard a lot of people try to conflate a whole variety of things. I've had the pleasure of going to the school board meetings, listening to the budget conversations, looking at the numbers. There's a lot of folks that have some bad information. We need to support the schools. Vote down the owner occupancy. You can keep the homestead. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, gentlemen. Anna Herrick. I actually live in Geauga County. However, my taxing district.
See the microphone that's laying in front of you? Yep.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. However, our mailing address is Mentor, and therefore we pay into the Mentor school system. I just wanted to clarify, as I did a quick Google. In the United States, special education teachers earn a median annual salary of $64,000. Salary breakdown, entry level, if you 0 to 3 years is 50 to 60K. Middle career, 4 to 10 years is 62 to 85,000 annually, and experience 10 plus years is 70 to 90,000. Leadership roles range from 95,000 to 120,000. I know you've been doing this for 33 years. So if your salary comports with what Google is saying here.
No, ma'am. I apologize. Special ed salaries are not on the agenda today.
Well, it was brought up. So I just wanted to clarify for the record that I think 70 to 120,000, especially if you're in a leadership role, 95,000 to 120 is pretty good money. Okay. But what I really came up here to express was that my mother and father are in their late 80s right now, and in their late 70s and early 80s, they were perpetually stressed out about their property taxes. I don't think any senior in their retirement, after they've gone through 30, 40 years of building this country, our counties, our local communities, our infrastructure, that they should be burdened and stressed out about paying their rent, as you expressed. They're essentially paying rent for what they own to the county. So I just ask that you keep our seniors in mind when you make this vote, and that I appreciate education and teachers. Nancy Mara, who spoke, she's actually an educator, as is this young lady here. But I do think, to Brian Massey's point, if this is a 1.5 decrease in the public education budgets and the schools can't navigate through that, then yeah, they need to, there's a problem. I mean, in my household, we can sustain a 20% hit and make it. And just last point, food, clothing, and shelter. Shelter being your home, the young child that is here, you need food, clothing, and shelter. If children don't have homes, then they're not going to be coming to school.
I appreciate
What are the teachers? Are the teachers going to provide?
Coming in today. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, can I just? Are my 3 minutes
Your
up?
3 minutes have been up for a
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Quit shaking, will you?
Anybody? All right.
Give me a hug.
Have a seat. Anybody else for public comment? Anybody else for public comment? Anybody else for public comment? That's 3 times, Dale.
Okay.
We're done. All right.
You shut me down once.
Now, Madam Clerk, please proceed with resolutions.
In the engineer's office, resolution approving plans and specifications for Lookout Point subdivision phase 1, Painesville Township.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution approving plans and specifications for Sidley Boulevard phase 1, Painesville Township.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
In the Utilities Department, resolution increasing appropriations and transferring cash within Lake County Department of Utilities Water Fund and Fund 595 for Project 488W 2025 Green Street Waterline Replacement.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution certifying unpaid water and sewer sums and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $289,217.50 for water lines for Sidley Boulevard Phase 1 in Painesville Township, job number 26-11.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $203,225 for sanitary sewers for Sidley Boulevard Phase 1 in Painesville Township, job number 26-12.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $316,316 for water lines for Lookout Point subdivision in Painesville Township, job number 26-04.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $781,069.30 for sanitary sewers for Lookout Point subdivision in Painesville Township, job number 26-05.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
In Job and Family Services Department, resolution authorizing execution of a service contract between Harbor Vocational Services and the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Department of Job and Family Services to provide workforce services for program year 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution authorizing payment to various Lake County police prosecutors for the first half of 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution to adopt a local optional homestead tax exemption in Lake County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Sure.
there's There's a lot to share in this conversation, but I'll try to be as brief as I can. First, we heard from a school board member that they wish their revenues were higher. And I want to remind folks that there are two ways you can raise revenues. If you're a business, you can raise prices, and I don't think any of us have enjoyed seeing the prices rise, whether it be on eggs, gas, or anything else, right? Or you can sell more. And Henry Ford actually cut the price of the Model T so he could sell more, raise revenue, and grow what became one of the greatest international companies in the world. For a government, you can raise taxes and burden everyone, or you can raise productivity. You can become more effective and efficient. When a county or a city grows in population or business activity, yes, revenue goes up, and we're very blessed to be in cities and here in Lake County that has grown, both in terms of population and economic activity. So yes, revenue has gone up because we are 1 out of 3 counties, not just in Ohio, but the United States of America, that has grown. That's a good thing. It means that your leaders at the local level are working hard and creating a place that people want to move to. We've heard that today. I came here because I love this place, and that's what I love to hear. That's the right way for a city to grow, a township to grow, a county to grow. When a school grows revenue the right way, they grow enrollment. So if you get more students, you get more revenue. And if students elect to go to other public schools or other private schools, you get less revenue. It's really as simple as that. So the starting point that you should ask for any public school is, did enrollment go up or down? And if it went up, then yeah, their revenue should be going up to handle that larger student body and to educate them well. And if it went down, as long as you still have at least as much, if not more money per student, you're doing just fine. So it's really important to understand that revenue should go up with what you produce. If a city increases in population, yes, they should have more revenue. If a school increases in enrollment, their population, it should go up in revenue. You shouldn't just raise taxes for the sake of raising revenue. More money does not necessarily equate to better schools or better government. It does equate to a bigger burden for all of us, though. And whether you're a county, a city, or a school, raising taxes should be the last answer. It's usually the lazy answer. Now, 12 years ago, the state adopted the state sales tax, and it was supposed to be for 3 things. This is public record: local relief of poverty, local government, and public schools. But the state kept all the money. And then decades later, in the 1970s, the state of Ohio passed the income tax. And they swore, this time for real, the income tax will be for local government fund and public schools. But over the years, they've kept more and more of the money, and that trend accelerated under Governor Kasich. Anyone who served as a local elected official knows about the drastic cuts to the local government fund. And then they passed the lottery and the marijuana tax. And do I really need to tell you what's happened and is happening there? The state government continues to keep more and more and more of the money. It's not that Ohioans or Lake Countyans or people from Mentor or Willoughby or Eastlake aren't paying enough taxes. Truth be told, we're paying too much taxes. It's that the state's keeping too much of it. If we kept these taxes locally, we could fully fund our public schools, we could fully fund our local services, and we wouldn't have to place such an awesome burden on homeowners, low-income seniors, and everyone in between. So I want to express my gratitude to hear so many of you recognize that the real villain of this story is the state. They have not done their job under the Ohio Constitution to fund public schools. They've not done their job in returning the tax dollars we already pay so that we can fund our roads, police, fire, and essential local services. But in the interim, we have a decision to make. And I want to agree, I think this was a political vote in HB 96. I think that the state legislature hoped to divide us so that county commissions and school boards would fight with each other and not have time or effort to go down to Columbus and say, why are you pushing this on us? I agree that this is a very disingenuous attempt to distract all of us from the reality that 6 of one, half a dozen of another, no matter how we vote today, the problems all of us are expressing, that the property taxes are too damn high, and that schools need to be properly funded. And when I say proper, I don't necessarily mean more or less. I mean fair. For those of us who care about equity, it is not right that schools in rich neighborhoods or successful cities and counties have more money and resources for their education than kids in poor neighborhoods. Public schools are meant to be the great equalizer. As they are now, funded by local taxes, where some school districts have a ton of money and others are scraping by, we're actually exacerbating the inequities caused by poverty. It makes it worse. And in the interim, people are rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I remember talking to one school superintendent before this vote, and he said, why don't I just throw my parents and school board members at you? I want the money. Would it work? And I told him no. He said, it'll hurt our relationship. It'll make it harder for us to work together for what we really should be doing. In a perfect world, you wouldn't be asking us to vote no on the homestead exemption or no on the owner occupancy credit. You'd be asking us to get on a bus with you to Columbus and ask it to be backfilled. $15 million to the state of Ohio isn't a fingernail on their budget. If every one of us had gone down to Columbus instead of coming to this meeting, we could have gotten those credits for our seniors and our homeowners and had them paid for by Columbus. But instead, we let our state reps and senators pit us against each other. I want to do better. And I admit that all of us, myself included, bear burden for that. We all need to do a better job of working together so we can bring this message to the state. But in the interim, here's the question I have to ask and answer. Who can more easily bear losing an average benefit of $500 a year for the homestead exemption? Grandma and grandpa choosing between home, food, and medicine, or a multi-million-dollar city or school district budget? Who can better afford another $100 or $150 a month? A homeowner who's scraping to get by with cost of goods going through the roof, or a multi-million-dollar government budget? If we're being honest with ourselves, while this isn't the biggest part of our tax bill, who does it impact more? It impacts the homeowner more than it does the multi-million-dollar city budget. It impacts the senior more than it does the school district. So where you're forced to choose at a zero-sum game who can better afford to take the cut, it's the multi-million budget, not the kitchen table budget, if we're being honest with ourselves. And I know in an environment where school levies are failing left and right, it's easy for an administrator to step up and say, hey, give me an unvoted increase of $2 or $3 million a year. I understand that that's the easy way, but it doesn't solve the problem. I remember another school superintendent told me years ago, I was at a meeting as he was trying to convince us to vote for an increase in the school levy. He said, after the levy passed, we're going to fire all the new teachers. And I was shocked. I said, I thought that you said if the levy doesn't pass, we fire the teachers. He said, no, new teachers are young. It's easy for them to find another job. I'm going to cut them anyway. I said, wow. And it really gave me an insight into how heartless administration can be. This isn't teacher versus taxpayer. It's not student versus senior. It's all of us versus the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats in Columbus, the bureaucrats in public schools. I mean, in Mentor, they've had it proposed many times. What if we cut the subsidy to administrators, a subsidy that teachers don't get, where they get their pension portion paid for, the equivalent of their Social Security? All the teachers have to pay in, but not the administrators. Right. Now, this is the benefit no regular teacher gets, but God forbid the administrators give it up. Oh, we wouldn't be competitive. We wouldn't have the best leaders. If we had the best leaders, ladies and gentlemen, they would be going to Columbus, not to the commissioners. They wouldn't be asking to raise your taxes. They would be volunteering to help you cut them and fund public schools fairly. They would be looking to raise proficiency scores, and they wouldn't have time to attend a single public meeting until every kid in their school could read. They would tutor them one-on-one before they'd come to lobby a commissioner. If we care about our kids, we give our time to them. If we think that public schools need more resources, we don't go to the taxpayer like an ATM. We go to Columbus, which is hoarding the money. And at the end of the day, I have the highest respect for everyone here. You care enough about your community to speak up and to say how much you care about schools. I do too. But understand, if we make this a zero-sum game where you say to the taxpayer, you have to pay an infinitely increasing bill, they're just going to say no. On the other hand, we're the 16th highest tax state in the union. There's plenty of money. Ohio doesn't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And if we focused our efforts on Columbus and said, just follow the state constitution, that's not asking much. You take an oath every 2 to 4 years. Article 6, Section 2 says you fund the public schools. And it's not just, and I want to say this one more time, it's not just about taking the burden off local taxpayers. That's been highlighted by the public health crisis that occurred when property taxes skyrocketed to the highest inflation in 40 years. It's also about fairness and equity. If you really believe public schools are there for the kid that can't afford to go to private schools, why do we segment our public schools into schools like Shaker, which have unimaginable programming and resources, and schools like East Cleveland that don't? If you really care about kids, you wouldn't trap them in a school that's underfunded and go in the wrong direction. You would demand, not tomorrow, not in 10 years, not someday, that every public school has 90% or better proficiency rates. And you wouldn't be satisfied with your administration if there wasn't a line in their contracts that said you're fired if you don't achieve that in 3 years. Because if we say 10 or 20 years, those kids graduate without knowing how to read, write, or do arithmetic, and you steal their future. And that's not something we can give back. Oh, if the school becomes great in 20 years, that doesn't help little Sammy or Sarah, who graduated without knowing how to read. We stole their future. And we need to be honest about that. So I hear the passion for public schools. I hear the passion for our seniors. I hear the passion for our homeowners. Let's actually bring it together to be positive. Let's actually do something that will make a difference. We can argue over crumbs, or we can fight for what's right. Amen.
Anything to comment before I do?
Sure, I do. I would like to thank everyone that showed up here and spoke. I know it's not always easy to stand up in front of a public body and take a microphone and share thoughts. So thank you for taking the time to attend today, and thank you for being here. This is my first opportunity to weigh in on this issue, and there are we've heard a lot of comment today. I've endured a lot of conversation about this issue with leaders in our local government here in Lake County, state representatives, state senators, and school superintendents and treasurers. As we've heard today, a lot of conversation about policy, public education, and so forth. The more and more I spent time hearing these thoughts and hearing these ideas, the issue got a little bit more cloudy, and there's a lot to it. We just heard quite a bit from my colleague. I step back and I take a look at this as a simple tax policy conversation, which is what it is. The state legislatures empowered counties across the state of Ohio to provide tax relief. This empowerment came following historic inflation and inflated costs around the kitchen table, property values that resulted in higher property taxes, and this board last year acted unanimously to enact this tax relief. Subsequently, we have seen additional relief from the state, but when I step back and look at this from the terms of tax policy, the things that have happened in Columbus, the things that are before me today, I look at this and I see that our seniors need this support. Our seniors need this relief, and to me, it's a no-brainer to approve this homestead exemption for our seniors here in Lake County. It is something that, as an elected leader, both formerly as a township trustee and a county commissioner, I take fiscal responsibility seriously, and I am a steward of public funds, always have been for a number of years now, and I take that oath seriously, and I take that responsibility seriously, and I am willing to take a look at our budgets and offer this extension in addition to what the state has already done, and continue to look within our own budgets to how we can do better. So I know this is a hard decision, difficult situation that all of our budgets face, but I believe this is the right choice.
Thank you. Morgan should get some applause too.
Your turn.
I don't need applause though. The last couple of meetings, I've gone through the history of why we are where we here now, right? I've gone through the numbers and explained that to me it is a fact that the state has undermined and underfunded our educational system. even though it is their responsibility. And asking to judge schools on proficiency scores and scoring mechanisms on their performance after underfunding them for decades, to me is an unfair request and doesn't make sense. I think that we've identified today a common enemy, not an enemy, because that's just mean to say, because making enemies out of each other, we're not going to get anything done. And we spent a lot of time and this is an annual decision, and the landscape changes every year. And I have done my best to be available and to talk and discuss and identify issues around this, as well as solutions, because pointing out problems without proper solutions is a waste of my time, okay? And so the problem of property taxes is that the school funding mechanism in this state is wrong. I don't know what else to say. It doesn't work, it's broke. And there was a recent post by a school board member in this county in anticipation of this meeting today of an article from the FordhamInstitute.org, whatever that is. And the title of said article was "The Bogus State Disinvestment in Public Schools Narrative." And it talks about, pretty condescending to begin with some narrative involved in the words, about how folks have identified that the state portion of public education, K-12 public education funding is about 37% going to 32%. And before it gets into the numbers of justifying, it makes this statement: before scrutinizing their numbers, let's review some basics. Funding public schools has long been a joint responsibility of the state and local districts. Commissioner Plechnik, I believe you quoted our Constitution. Does it say anything in there about the local districts being responsible for paying for education? No, it does not. And so when you make incorrect statements like that, I have a hard time listening to the rest of your narrative. But their narrative goes like this. When we look at the CUP report, which is the state funding report that comes out, that the state puts out. So if you don't like the numbers you're putting out, I don't know, maybe you look at the numbers you're putting out. Their formula is what their argument is that their formula is based off of a set base student fee, an amount of money per student. And the more property value you have, they require you, all districts, according to this article, which I did not have time to fact check, forgive me for telling you not to believe what you believe on Facebook and then quoting what I read on Facebook. I get it, right? But according to them, it's state law that districts are required to pass 20 mils of levies, which is basically a 2% on your real estate. I'm looking at CFOs and auditors in the room, and they're shaking their head. I'm not lying yet. Great. And so they justify it that, and I've heard this argument, well, we don't have any property taxes in the state. We're not part of this game. That's a local issue. They said that to my face. But basically what they've done is, instead of them levying the 20 mil tax on the state, they said, well, we're out of that game, but we're going to require you to do it. And what winds up happening is that the wealthier areas only get a small percentage, like maybe 10% of what the base student amount is. But the lower poverty areas, the areas with lower property tax values, get up to 79%. Okay? So that's how they think they fix the system. I don't know that it's an apples for apples conversation. And I don't think that that's a fair way to say, and this article says the true state portion is actually closer to 45 or 47%. That's where it's really at. It's not 32, it's not 37, it's 45 or 47%, as it has been. You're responsible, and I'm saying you're as in Columbus in general. I'm not going to call out people by names, because once again, I don't think that's productive for moving forward in positive solutions. But the state is responsible for K-12 public education If your article is bragging about the fact that you're only putting in 45%, you're not paying for public education. You're paying 45%. I don't understand the math of this. And when the state comes back, and I've heard the state reps say, well, do you understand that 37% of my budget goes into education? I don't care. They cry that 51% of the budget goes towards Medicare issues. Another 37% goes towards public education. I don't get to call the gas company and be like, I'm sorry, I can't pay my bill this month because my mortgage is 70% of my budget. Clearly, I don't have any other money. No, I can't. It's 70% of my budget. But the more troubling part about the hypocrisy of this is the per student amount that they bragged about is $8,200.
It's insane.
So understand that. The CUMP report, according to the state and their numbers, spending in the state is on average $17,000 per student. Spending is on average $17,000 per student. Yes, I'm sure there's efficiencies. Yes, there are cuts that can be made. Great cuts. I applaud the Willoughby Eastlake School District. They made a change that saved that district $1 million. They changed the bell schedule. They changed when school starts and ends and when the bells ring, and it helped them clean up their transportation. It saved them $1 million. To do that, the teachers had to open up their contract, I believe. I applaud that. We have a problem. And everybody has to be a part of the solution. But $8,200 does not educate a child.
Right.
And even if you think $17,000 is too high, and we've talked about Mentor today, their administrative budget is $7 million-ish. Their overall budget is over $1 million. That's the 6% as administrators. They have to cut $10 million out of their budget to meet their 5-year forecast. If they cut every single administrator, they still don't meet the numbers because the system is broken. And so, with respect, your comments, Commissioner Plechnik, about bringing more students, in theory, it's correct. You're right. The better the performing in the school, the better people want to move to that neighborhood and increase enrollment. The problem is our funding. It doesn't save them money. It doesn't make them money. If it costs us $17,000 now and I'm some genius and can save 20%, cut 20% and none of the services drop, and we're spending $15,000 per student, we add more students into the district, they're only giving us $8,000 from the state. Therefore, I have a $6,000 or $7,000 deficiency. Every new student in to a district. Think about how, I'm not lying to you, and think about how stupid the system has to be. That your assumptions are correct. It should be that way. It should be that the better the schools do and the more students they get, the more money they have, they lose money. That's how dumb our system is. I'm so proud and happy of our group today, of our commissioners meeting today, of our county. I was proud of the decision we made last year. I'm as proud, if not more, of this conversation today. This doesn't happen in other communities. This isn't happening. First of all, right or wrong, this conversation isn't even being had by the majority of commissioners. Few counties have taken up this conversation. And the lady before who said it's sad that we're here, no, I'm not sad. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I'm not sad. I view this as an opportunity. Columbus doesn't want to have tough conversations. Columbus doesn't want to do the work. Columbus isn't even in session right now.
They're on vacay.
They went out and say they ended their session in June. They're not back till November.
Right.
That's a 5 months off. And I heard a state rep that represents my county say, well, you know, this is something we need to look into. School funding's been a problem since I was in school. And I ain't a young man no more. And I also heard him talk about data centers. Wow, we didn't get any data center legislation passed because, you know, these are new and these just come fast and we need to take our time. No, you don't.
Right.
What else are you doing? If Medicare is 51% of your budget, which is kind of a basic service that you have to provide, right? I don't know that there's that many complications to the Medicare system. We got to take care of people that can't take care of themselves. And education is 37%. You've identified that education is a huge part of being a state legislature. It's broke. It's dumb. It's stupid. So I don't know. Maybe talk over the next 5 months. Maybe get together. Don't just do another study that does nothing, but solve the problem. And so I'm thankful that they kicked the can down the curb, down the street to us. Great. You don't want to do it? We'll have this conversation here. We'll do the hard work. We'll look at this together to have a solution and try to come up with a solution, right? I've said, I made the comment, we had 2 different groups of folks here today rallying at this commissioners meeting. Man, y'all want to go in on a bus together and drive down to Columbus, let me know. Let's split the cost, right? Yeah. And I'll be there. All right, as long as I don't have a ball game to coach at night, yeah, we'll go have a conversation. We couldn't do it now, because once again, they're not in session.
Right.
So thankfully, in this county, we have that conversation here, right? I want to also talk about why I'm going to vote the way I vote today. And about a week and a half ago, this became clear to me what I wanted to do. And Auditor Galloway talked earlier about some of those things. When we made the decision last year, we had to make the decision with the information we had by October 30th. Laws were changed and passed in December. Once again, these are annual decisions that need to be made. And some of those laws addressed certain issues for me. One, the 20 mil floor conversation has been addressed. School districts that passed emergency levies, or this type of levy, or that type of levy, that resulted in the spike that we have spoke about, the unvoted increase because of property taxes rising, has been addressed. Taxpayers will see an adjustment down in those districts that had levies that, I don't want to say manipulated. Voters in those districts will see a decrease in their taxes this second half bill. I don't know that second half bills are out yet, because once again, Columbus passed a bunch of new laws and regulations and never told our auditor how to answer those questions, and it's costing me more money to pay for software here at the county so that we can figure out how to do the bills. Am I correct in those statements, Mr. Auditor? Thank you, sir. And so voters will see this year, for tax year 2025 payable in 2026, a decrease in some of those amounts. Okay? In those school districts that had increases because of outside millage that was being used to calculate and play the game. And I'm not faulting anybody for the game, but the game's been solved a little bit. Second, they have expanded the owner occupancy credit. I have talked about this as well. They are reducing the non-business tax credit of 10% and giving it all to the owner occupancy and increasing that to, instead of 12.5 total, it's not going to be 15.38, which will absorb the 2.5% piggyback that the commissioners have the opportunity to pass. But they're going to pay for it. Great! I'm so happy that they, in my opinion, looked at and found a good solution for the owner occupancy credit, as well as handling the 20 mil floors to all be the same. Great job. Job well done, Columbus. We appreciate that. But the other thing that influences my vote today is what they've done to the inside millage. So I believe the 20 mils I referenced earlier about the 2% tax that they're basically requiring all districts is the inside millage. This is the millage that will go up with property values, or at least it was going to go up with property values. This is the basic inside millage that counties, municipalities, townships, any entity has to run their business. Now, we've already established in this county, they don't want to give us the full funding formula. They're going to require us to have more and more and more above that to just break even or just come close and keep hitting on the taxpayers to provide for public education in this county, which they are not paying statewide, as I've established. But what they did on inside millage was they passed a law that says inside millage is only going to increase every 3 years at basically like a CPI rate. It's going to be capped. I've also talked about the fact that the vast majority of government services and in education is salaries. and benefit programs, which are tied to salaries. Now, if you hate the benefit programs, okay, hate the benefit programs. But the salaries are still 50 to 60% of a budget. And wage inflation is far, far higher than CPI. And so what they have done, I think they were well intended, is that they have capped the amount that inside millage is going to be going to go up. The effective rate of inside millage is going to start to come down. And unless communities and organizations and schools can find a way to be efficient, which we have talked about here, we have got to find better efficiencies. But if they can't keep up with efficiency, saving enough money to go to there, it is going to pass a bill. It is going to put a bill that's going to be owed by us, the taxpayers, again. It may not be this year, it may not be in 5 years, but in 8 to 10 years or so, every taxing authority that has inside millage that is not keeping up is going to have to pass another levy until the system is fixed. The overburden of taxes comes on the taxpayers, but the giving them relief comes at the expense of the entities that tax. We've talked about this today. And for me, the two folks that are impacted are homeowners and seniors on a limited income. I feel I can solve seniors on a limited income by doing the piggyback on the homestead exemption. I believe that what the state does, along with ours, along with some changes that were made at a one-time Band-Aid from the state this year, which hopefully they adopt permanently and expand, as Auditor Galloway talked about, it has not kept up with inflation. I believe that that drastically helps, if not solves, that conversation. But for the homeowners and the residents, which have had property taxes go from a 40-60 relationship where they were 40 and commercials were 60, has inverted, the 2.5%, it doesn't move the needle. Whatever, I've heard numbers, in one school district it was like $40 a person, other places it's $100, every district's different, right? It's about $100 or so per taxpayer. That's not enough. That doesn't do anything. I'm sorry, for me, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. The amount of money that it's going to be taking away, knowing now that the spike has been addressed in some of the school districts, as well as the state did a great job of already expanding that owner occupancy. They did their job on that one. Could they do better? Absolutely. But for me, the fact that I know inside millage is going to be eroded, and that's not just a school conversation. We've talked about the facts that property taxes are 60% schools, 40% the other government entities, and those other government entities are going to be hurt too because of the erosion of their inside millage. And not renewing the owner occupancy today, for me, allows for a little bit of relief to those entities that I know are going to get it, because I don't think it's moving the needle for the homeowner. It's just not enough. And until we get better rules and regulations, or until we find a solution for school funding, those that suffer are going to be kids in schools. And if I got to make a decision, I don't want to wait for Columbus. I don't want to wait for that solution to come. And in the meanwhile, I respect the fact that my schools in this county are underfunded. And so that's where I came to the decision I'm going to be making, that I am in support of the homestead, and I probably always will be. But with the law changes that have been taking place, I do not feel the need this year, because we make this decision annually, to renew the owner occupancy. But the beautiful part of the room today is that, to the best of my record, as I was keeping track, every single person wanted us to do the homestead. That is not the case statewide. The education community in this county has embraced the homestead exemption, because I do believe we can do both. I do believe that we can have well-funded, proper, quality schools, as well as address the issue of seniors on a limited income, of helping them out on this tax credit. So, I have said my piece. Anything else? Hearing no other discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution to adopt a local optional owner-occupied tax exemption in Lake County, Ohio.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Do we have a second? We do not. That resolution does not proceed. Madam Clerk, please proceed.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $8,131,950.83.
I do respect her. We still have a meeting going on here, so I would appreciate some civility. And if that's not a possibility, let me know. So moved.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution approving purchase orders is listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $2,164,311.93.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Resolution transferring appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye. This brings us to departmental reports. Utilities.
No report today, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Job and Family Services.
No report today, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. County Administrator.
No report.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Yes, I just wanted to report that there is not a commissioner meeting next week. Our next meeting is going to be Thursday, July 9th at 10 a.m. And I wanted to wish everyone a safe and happy July 4th.
Thank you very much. This is an important task. We come to that point in the meeting when I ask, is there any report, legal?
No report, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, is there any old business? Is there any new business? I just want to say I appreciate everyone being here today and engaging in the conversation. As my colleague said, for some, this might be your first time standing up at a microphone and talking, and I appreciate the courage for all opinions that were expressed today. It is refreshing to see engagement in our government. I think that the more engaged all of us are, the better we'll be, and so that I am thankful for the day. So. Any other new business? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session for the purpose of protecting the interest of an applicant or the possible investment of expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with an economic development project pursuant to RC.121.22 Cap G8. No business will be conducted following executive session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McIntosh.
Aye.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Yes.